few months ago I started hearing whispers of a new musical based around the wives of Henry VIII. I'm not really a history person myself, so whilst it sounded interesting, it perhaps wasn't really the kind of thing that I'd want to see. But then I saw the trailer, and then I listened to the cast recording, and let's just say things changed. It went from a musical which I thought sounded nice to a musical that I had to see somehow. And oh my god, I am so glad that this run extended for 6 weeks, because I caught the day before the penultimate performance. I saw it yesterday and it closes at the Arts Theatre today. Now it is back, it's going on tour, kind of a mini tour to the end of the year, and back at the Arts Theatre in 2019, but I'm so thankful that I got to see it this time round. It is incredible. From the moment I heard the cast recording, I knew I had to go and see Six. But just from hearing it, that's incredible anyway. But seeing it, it's just something else. Take your idea of a musical, wrap it up in a small paper ball, and just throw it out the window. From the running time, the presentation, to even where the band were positioned on the stage, Six isn't like anything else you've ever seen before. And I truly think it's refreshed and redefined what exactly a musical is and what it potentially can.
Listen up, let me tell you a story. A story that you think you've heard before. We know you know our names and our fame and our faces.
Know all about the glories and the disgraces.
Welcome to the show, to the history mix. Switching up the flow as we add the prefix. Everybody knows that we used to be six. So
what's it about? So Six is presented as a band on tour. This band is made up of Henry VIII's wives taking this opportunity to tell their story live on stage through the form of song. The musical opens with a song which basically introduces the six queens. Now I know this doesn't sound like the most thrilling opening to a musical, but believe me, it sounds a lot better than it sounds, and it sets the tone for the entire musical. This is followed by a little bit of dialogue which lays down the foundations for the show. Essentially, it's presented like a competition. Maybe like a reality show. Think that kind of thing. Each queen takes their turn to sing a song about their time with Henry VIII, trying to persuade the audience to believe that their story is the worst of all the other queens. The winner of the competition will then get to perform solo at the end of the show, with the remaining queens demoted to backing singers. I realise this makes this sound a bit like a reality show, but it doesn't really come off that way. So each song tells the story of that queen in their own words. That's kind of the idea, it's giving their version of the story. I mean, I'm pretty sure we didn't have smartphones or social networking back in the 1500s, so it's definitely been updated for a modern audience. Having said this, I don't really remember much from the Queen stories from when I did GCSEs. So, yeah. You get to learn something from this musical too. As for the queens themselves, their personalities were infectious. They were hilarious to watch on stage, and the chemistry they had between each other as they played off why they thought their time with Henry VIII was the worst was just so much fun to watch. The competition format did start me thinking who I think was my favourite, but to be honest, they're all so good. It just changed throughout the show. And I loved each of them individually, and as a group, they were wonderful, and can't really say any better than that. They were superb. I didn't have a favourite, I loved them all equally. I know I'm focusing a lot on the queens here, but I think it's kind of what this musical is really about. And their songs, their stories. I loved that each had their own personality, their own quirks, and that's reflected in the style of music they sang. It was largely poppy. There's no getting away from it. Most of the music in there was pop orientated. However, there was a rap song in there, and there was, for Jane Seymour, a ballad. And there were a couple of ballads throughout, but Jane Seymour's one particularly stands out because it wouldn't make sense to have a fast, upbeat song for a queen that truly loved Henry and stood by him. I mean, she gave birth to a son and tragically died from a hemorrhage a few weeks later. That kind of story doesn't go with an upbeat number. It doesn't go with a sassy number. It goes with a ballad, and all these different songs play on each other. It created a balance, which meant it wasn't all in-your-face, loud, fast music. some bits went quieter and softer. There was the rap song in there as well. So there's a diverse mix of music that all kind of linked together and worked together well to create a show which felt very different from anything else I've ever seen. I think it's worth mentioning the Queens do engage with the audience, and as you would see in a concert, a pop concert, they do use the so often used phrase, "Are you having a good time, London?" It comes up a few times, and the times when they say it once, they get one reaction, then they say it again to try and get a bigger reaction. Admittedly, you'll see it in a pop concert and that kind of thing, so it's kind of be a bit strange to be left out of a show which is formatted around essentially a concert. And of course, as an audience, we were excited to see this show. And yes, we were ready for it. Yes, we clapped and cheered along at those moments because we paid tickets, we were there, we wanted to see it, and we were having a good time. So of course we got involved, and of course we clapped and cheered along. Moving past the Queens, like you've already said, they were very, very good. This is a musical, and therefore it has music. And this music came from the band, the Ladies in Waiting. They're positioned unusually for a musical, live on stage, right in front of you. They're kind of towards the back of the stage in a semicircle with drums, guitar, bass, and keyboard. The keyboard makes use of the harpsichord sound a couple of times throughout the show, particularly where we hear the string sounds of Greensleeves in a very modern style. I want to look at the band because they were just fantastic and acted almost like a character themselves. Sitting where I sit, well, I always sit in the front row. I have several reasons for doing that. But being that close also meant you could see their expressions, and it just fitted and worked within the whole concept of the show. They looked and sounded so good and just so well integrated with the performance. Together with the lights as well. I mean, the set and the stage, it looked like a concert stage. For a set which is essentially seemingly quite simple, it didn't have any moving parts or anything complicated. It was just tied together and just looked amazing. One thing you will notice if you book tickets for 6 is that it's shorter than a normal musical. Its running time is 1 hour and 15 minutes and there is no interval. If you look at the programme, they mention that this is the running time it started out with, and they didn't feel it needed to grow. They didn't want it to grow. Other outside sources did suggest maybe adding a few more songs in to push the running time to maybe 1 hour and 30, maybe adding an extra act. But I agree with the producers here. I think 1 hour and 15 is the perfect length. So many musicals kind of feel they tend to go on longer than perhaps they need to. But this one left you wanting more. But it told all its story. It told the stories of all the 6 wives that it needed to tell. And it got the message that it wanted to get across. And it did that within 1 hour and 15 minutes. It didn't need another 3 songs. It left me wanting to see it again. It left me wanting more. And I think if you ever leave something wanting to see more of it when you leave, that's probably the perfect point to end it. The current run at the Arts Theatre of 6 closes today, assuming this video gets uploaded today, and I hope it does. But it's going on a mini tour up until the end of December, so there's still time to catch it, and next year it's back at the Arts Theatre. So if you haven't seen it yet, and this has made you maybe want to go see it, and I really hope it has, then book your tickets now, as the tickets are open. I highly, highly, highly recommend 6. And if I could see it again, I'd see it in a heartbeat. I'm hoping to upload more musical and theatre-based videos in the next few months, so if you'd like to stick around, I'd love to say hi to you. Other than that, that's all I really wanted to say. So until next time, hopefully, bye.